One of the joys of travel is finding out how other cultures see the world, what they value and enjoy, and the ways that's different from what you're accustomed to. For our next guest, a recent such experience became life-changing, personally and professionally. With us now to explain, in Rome, Italy, Zoe Shapiro, who is the founder of Stellavision Travel. Zoe, it's so good to meet you. Shall I say, come stai questa sera?
Oh, bene, grazie. Voi?
Tutto a posto, niente in ordine, grazie, which is Italian for everything's terrific, nothing's working, which I'm told is a classic Italian expression. Let's get into this here. What were you doing in Canada when you decided to simply uproot and move to Italy?
I was a marketing consultant. I pivoted from working in a department to being out on my own and freelancing. And I realized that I could go ahead and make one of my dreams come true, which is work remotely for a year. I had a wonderful intern on Toronto time holding down the fort, and I offered my clients a bit of a discount to take our monthly meeting onto Skype, because this was the days before we all started Zooming with one another.
Mm-hmm. And this is going to sound like a bit of an odd question, but what did you think of yourself while you were here before you moved there?
That is a question in perpetual motion. I think any woman who grew up with YM Magazine and the 2000s and the inundation of media, it really depends on any given day. But at the time I left, I was struggling a little bit. I wasn't totally happy with the reflection I saw in the mirror. And it was more about a way of thinking than the true reflection. But yeah, I wasn't perfectly content at that juncture.
What didn't you like about what you saw in the mirror?
I equated my appearance to my value. And because I didn't place a lot of value in how I looked, everything else became so heightened and important. And it was just a recipe for dissatisfaction.
And when you moved to Italy, did that change?
It has evolved, and it's continuing to evolve. I don't think how we feel about ourselves is a static idea at any point in our lives. But by and large, yes, it did change quite a bit.
Let's break it down. How did you regard the way you eat in Italy now with the way you used to regard food and eating when you lived in Canada?
Well, my first 6 months in Italy were nomadic. I had a car lease and my dog was my co-pilot, and I was mostly based on islands and in rural areas. So Uber Eats was completely out of the question. That was an immediate change. And the experience of food and ingredients in Italy is quite different than what I was accustomed to in Toronto. The produce is fresh and local. You're more likely to buy it at a market. And I think subconsciously I was more connected to what I was eating. But I was never, I never came to Italy with a goal to change the way I eat. It really was a natural byproduct of everything else. I certainly deprived myself of no pastas and no gelato. I ate them all.
Well, but the Mediterranean diet is supposed to be pretty good for you, right?
Yeah, I'm far from an expert, but my best interpretation, and I've had friends who have visited say the same thing, is you can eat a lot and you don't feel heavy. And I think, pardon me, I don't want to disparage where I came from, which I love, but all the crap has gone out of the food. It's simply produced, even in restaurants, and it's natural. And, you could eat a pasta and feel limber and fine walking away.
Right. Now let's talk about another thing that you changed in your lifestyle, and that is you started swimming pretty much every day. And okay, here's my strange question on that. I wouldn't have thought that a Canadian woman who might have been a little bit nervous at one point about body image would want to be in a bathing suit surrounded by a bunch of Italian men looking at her every day. Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. And it took me sort of the breadth of that summer to really evolve my thinking, because I started out with that Canadian woman mindset, fully accessorized, both to distract from my body, other people, and myself. And a beach day was like a Saturday, and I would devote a day, sit in a chair for 8 hours, the way we might if we went on vacation during the Canadian winter. And then I realized that that's not the way Italians interact with the seaside. And by September of that year, I was doing some work, darting to the beach, wearing a bathing suit and maybe some cutoffs in the car, throwing a towel down on somewhere rocky, and then, going back to work.
And feeling better about yourself all in the same time.
Absolutely. And I'm going to challenge one of the things you said about Italian men looking at me on the beach. Italians don't really ogle anyone. And that became very apparent to me. They don't look at what society and media has deemed the bad bodies. And they also don't really react to the gorgeous bodies either. It's just a way of life. It's an experience to enjoy with your friends and your family. And that really helped me shed a lot of my own self-consciousness when I realized nobody cared. Everyone was just here to swim. And then I joined in.
Okay, let me read an excerpt here from a piece that you wrote that the Globe and Mail published last month, and it goes like this. The sea wasn't there for a special day out. It became a daily pleasure. Despite a pandemic weight fluctuation, hint, I gained, by the following June, my tentativeness had all but evaporated. I learned the sea was a way of life in Italy. It's a pinnacle of summer in a culture that revolves around community and pleasure. Why would I deprive myself of the relief from the heat, I had no air conditioning, and enjoyment of the water? I knew I wanted to share this freedom from the stress and worry about body size with other women in the place where I learned it. Negative conditioning about your body shouldn't be an impediment to enjoying the sea, your vacation, or Italy. You are now, Zoe, bringing your positive experiences to something you call Stella Vision. What is Stella Vision?
Stella Vision is a boutique travel company for self-identifying women. We offer the ease of an all-inclusive vacation, but we take female travelers to places that are much harder to reach in Italy. I mean, my philosophy is you really don't need me to see the Colosseum. I'll connect you to an amazing tour guide. And I want to take women behind the scenes to enjoy the Italy that I've been able to see. And I definitely want to bring some of the learnings and the freedom that I've gained to their vacation experiences.
And Stella, is that your middle name?
Yes, Zoe Stella Shapiro. It's also a beautiful Italian word, so it felt very fitting.
It does fit perfectly. And okay, tell me the story here. This all happened because you lost your wallet and you couldn't find your way home?
That talk about generalities, but yes, absolutely. To this day, I don't know if it was unluckiness or kismet, but the day before the Italian lockdown, I either had my wallet stolen or I misplaced it. So when lockdown was announced the following day, I didn't have a driver's license or credit cards. And if you recall, Italy was sadly about 2 weeks ahead of the rest of the Western world when it came to COVID-19. So it was a very scary time. And even as I was on the phone to the consulate in Ottawa and, having conversations about how I could get home to Canada, it became clear that renting a car and driving to Paris and flying out of there, strategies like this would simply not work. So I stayed and I did that really scary first lockdown alone in Rome, but I also developed some roots and some community. And then I had an incredible silver lining and a privilege of experiencing Rome empty. Even it gives me shivers to this day, being the only person at the Trevi Fountain, that memory.
Did you throw the 3 coins in?
Well, I threw 2 for love. I don't know if I'm ready to commit to marrying a Roman. We'll see.
Okay, in our last 20 seconds here, you're in Italy now. Have we lost you in Canada, or you're coming back at some point?
You've lost me. I am here running Stella Vision. I really want to create this community of female travelers. And next up for us is a really exciting trip, which is all about body positivity and the journey to body acceptance while enjoying Italy.
Auguri, Zoe.
Grazie mille, Steve.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is made possible through generous philanthropic contributions from viewers like you. Thank you for supporting TVO's journalism.